college football. We could touch on that real quick. Probably by the time people see this, the games will be over. But at least we can say that we're recording Friday night before the Oregon and Washington game. So we can go ahead and put it on the wax. Who do you have winning this game right here?
Oregon.
And why?
I think they're the better team. They're the most complete team. I think Washington barely got out of there the first time. And now you got an Oregon team who is looking for vengeance. They just as hungry as they was the first time they played, if not more hungry now because of what's at stake. Washington being number 3 in the nation right now, and they in the playoff, and Oregon understands that if we beat Washington, we are in.
It's a fact.
So this game means everything. And this is literally, you could say, almost like a win or go home type situation. Granted, they both, one of them is going to go on to compete for a national championship and the other one will not.
For sure.
For me, I think it'll be Bo Nix and his old ass.
They both old. Both these niggas 24.
Okay, but I'm choosing Bo Nix. Yeah. Bo Nix is old ass.
Yeah, okay.
No knocks to Penix though. Penix has had an amazing year. He's done crazy things.
Winner gets Heisman.
I do believe that the winner of this game will win the Heisman. I do believe. But I just think overall, they both got very suspect defenses. But Oregon just has that slight edge over Washington. Washington they've slipped and they've barely been winning.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's final drives, final possessions, whatever. They barely pulling it off. And I get it, a win is a win. It doesn't matter how you get it done. Doesn't matter if the score was 24-0 or whether it's 55-54. A dub's a dub. And I just think that the winner of this game will go on to win the Heisman. I do still like the kid down in LSU. But the fact that
Jaden
Daniels. But the fact that Jaden Daniels just didn't really get it clicking until probably game 4 or 5, maybe 6 down there in Baton Rouge, and I just think it's probably too
He's old too.
Yeah,
all these niggas is old.
I was about to say all of them's old. All of them's old. Caleb Williams, he's no longer in the conversation no more.
No.
I think now, they'll narrow it down to the top 4, which will be Jaden Daniels, Penix, Bo Nix, and
probably
Marvin
Harrison or Washington's wide receiver, Uze, whatever his last name.
Uze, yeah. And then LSU, I know at one point in time, they was talking about McDaniels being in it, and then also they had a wide receiver down there too.
Yeah, Neighbors is nice.
Who was down there balling. So
nice cold.
I just think, but I do believe the winner of this Washington Oregon game will, whichever quarterback wins or team wins, that quarterback most likely will go on to win the Heisman.
I like Oregon as well.
If I'm not mistaken, they the top 2 in Heisman votes right now, anyways, right?
Nixon, Penix.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Oregon just because I've always rooted for Oregon. Just so I'm a Louisville fan, of course, but you have the schools where you root for them. I want to see them do good. I always want to see Oregon do good. I always want to see Texas do good. I always want to see Miami do good. And then it's just some because I like players that came from there back when the video game was out. It's coming out next year, but back when the video game was out, I play with those schools as well. So I'm a Louisville fan, but it's other schools that I root for, and I always want to see Oregon do good. But I got to be honest, bro. I'm not the biggest Bo Nix fan.
Oh, I'm not either.
And also, although I think Troy Franklin, I think he's a dog. I like Bucky Irvin, the running back for Oregon. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
I like Oregon's defense slightly more than Washington, but I just something about this game says, like you said, Washington's been struggling recently. This is the game I feel like Washington kind of gets their mojo back because it's hard to beat a team multiple times in a season, first off.
Yeah, and in
right?
football, you don't get two chances.
But it's also it's also hard to break that mindset for these kids to break that mindset where this team has already beaten us one time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, although you might have some guys on the team that's like, nah, we was closest in there. You got a good portion of these guys where they probably don't believe that they can beat them. They probably don't believe it. And Washington's probably looking at it like, we know that we know we're gonna get their best shot. We're playing for a championship, pretty much. Like we didn't come this far to lose in the Pac-12 championship game. Like we gotta finish the job.
Yeah.
And I honestly I think it's gonna come down to whichever coach can call the best game.
Yeah.
Whichever coach can put his players in a position to win. And I don't want to sound cliche or whatever, but whoever wins the turnover battle.
Yeah.
Because it's going to come down to whoever has the ball last, I feel.
It definitely is. I mean, that's how it came down the first time they played.
But I definitely feel like it's going to happen like that again.
Yeah.
And it's going to come down to whoever wins the turnover battle and which coach can put his players in a position to be the most successful. I'm going with Washington.
You going Washington?
I'm going with Washington. I'm going everything black. Got to roll with the Nick quarterback, bro.
I feel it.
You know what I mean?
I feel it.
So we got that.
Ain't no wrong with it.
What you got for us? So what we got? So we got this game tonight, and then we got the other 4 games tomorrow. Who you got winning the Big 12? We'll go off winners first, and then we'll get into why. But who you got winning the Big 12 championship tomorrow?
I think Michigan's.
No, I said Big 12.
Big 12?
Yeah.
Who's playing in that game?
Texas, Oklahoma State.
I think Texas will get them this time. Actually, I don't know. Oklahoma
State, not Oklahoma.
Oklahoma State, yeah. That's why I stopped. That's why I was like, well, wait. I think Texas can get it. I think Texas can get it. If they come out swinging early, they're a hard team to fight to beat when they get it clicking early. And Texas has proven that all year. If we can come out quick, then we can put teams away. The quicker we can put you away, the quicker we can wrap this shit up and get on back to where we gotta be. Get on to where we're going next.
Okay. SEC.
Bama,
Georgia. Game of the week.
That's both teams is crap to me.
You don't like Georgia either?
Both teams is crap. I just feel like Georgia really hasn't played nobody this year. They really haven't. And
it was kind of like that last year.
And it was kind of like that. And I just feel like it's like that every year for the championship team. It's kind of just like you get a rite of passage your next season. Because if you think about it, I mean, it was in the same boat as Alabama and them, but like Alabama and them was putting teams away. The difference between when Alabama was getting their rites of passages, they were putting teams away in the first half. Like you was turning the game off by the end of the second quarter because Alabama's up 40-something to 0.
Yeah.
Georgia hasn't done that this year.
I mean, they've had a few games where
they've had a few games, but it was also against a few teams that wasn't shit.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Like all the games where when Alabama was doing that, bro, it didn't matter who they was playing against, bro. They was up 40-something 0 by halftime. And if they wasn't up by that much, then it was still a high scoring game, and then come out the second half, bro, and they lock that shit up, bro, and they go on to end up winning by 30, almost 40 points.
Okay.
So Georgia hasn't really done that this year. Yes, have they had their first half struggles or second half struggles?
Who do you have winning though?
Alabama.
Okay. And what about ACC?
Actually, I take that back. I think Georgia will win. I think Georgia can beat Alabama. This is their year to prove that they can do it because they haven't beat Alabama in the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
And I think they get it done this year. Brock Bowers is too much. Alabama's defense is too suspect. I think Georgia gets it done.
Okay. So what about the ACC?
Be a homer. Considering that we just lost to UK, them boys is gonna come out. It's our first ACC championship appearance. They've had a hell of a year, but like we've been saying all year, Louisville is a either first or second half team, meaning they either gonna stink it up in the first half and dominate in the second, or vice versa. I hope that the situation is we stink it up in the first half. Offensively, the defense is locked in, whether it's the first half or the second half. They gonna be there. They gonna do their part. Offense wise, I just hope that we have a better second half than we do the first half. If they do decide to have
So
a
you got
one
Louisville
half,
winning.
yeah.
Okay. And what about the Big Ten? Michigan, Iowa.
Michigan.
Okay.
Michigan.
What's your Final Four?
Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
I got Georgia, Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
and I would have to say it's probably Texas, man. I think Texas can sneak in there.
So you think they will put the one-loss Texas, if Texas wins, they put a one-loss Texas in over a one-loss Washington, who's only
Or
lost.
one loss Florida State.
Well, Florida
Because
State,
I got us beating them.
but Florida State losing to Louisville is a worse loss than Washington losing to Oregon. You get what I'm saying? It's remnants of TCU losing to Kansas State last year. You see what I'm saying? In the Big 12 championship game. It's if that was to happen. I mean, for me,
One loss teams. I just feel like that's my four. That's who I feel.
because even though Texas would be the Big 12 champ, Washington's one loss to Oregon.
I don't think that they would put Washington and Oregon both back in there.
I mean, but it's number 3 lost to number 5. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, Washington can't fall that far.
It made more sense when number 1 lost to number 2. What was it? Last year when Alabama and Georgia played in the SEC, and then Georgia loses, and then they just fall to number 2.
Yeah, I mean, but what I'm saying is, even if Texas wins, Texas is number 7.
Actually, Georgia fell to number 4.
But I'm saying, but Texas is number 7. Number 6 is Ohio State. They're not moving, right? Oregon is number 5. Washington's number 3. So let's say Florida State does lose to Louisville, right?
I would just like to see Texas in there.
And then, okay, but I'm saying Florida State loses to Louisville, Washington loses to Oregon, Georgia wins, Michigan wins. So Georgia is in, Michigan is in, Oregon is in. Who gets that 4th spot? Because now you're going to come down to resume. Yeah, Washington isn't the Pac-12 champion, but their only loss was in the Pac-12 championship to the number 3 team in the playoffs. Whereas you'll look at Texas, like Texas is a 1-loss team, and their best win is against a 2-loss Alabama, and their loss was to above average Oklahoma team. Can you put them over the 1-loss Washington team? You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but
I
just don't see
you want to make it even nuttier? We can get nutty. Alabama beats Georgia. Oregon beats Washington. All right. Louisville beats Florida State. Now you got a conversation of does Georgia go from 1 to 5? Because
shit gets crazy,
like you get what I'm saying? Because now
this is the anarchy.
Because now you're looking at a 1-loss Georgia team who only lost 1 game to an Alabama team, but you got a 1-loss Bama team who lost to Texas. So now, do you have a playoff where you have an SEC team in the playoffs that is not Georgia, and it's Alabama SEC champion? Or do you diminish the SEC championship by leaving Georgia in and Bama not getting in, but putting Texas in because Texas got the head-to-head against Bama? But if you're going off the head-to-heads, that would mean Alabama would need to be in front of Georgia. You follow me? And if you're going off the head-to-heads and Oregon and Washington split, the tiebreaker is the Pac-12 championship.
I'm just imagining.
But now you got to argue 1-loss resumes, and Washington would have lost to the better team of the one loss teams. It can get nasty,
and it's going to. Because I think tonight, if Oregon wins tonight,
put like this: the committee is praying Washington wins. This is what the committee is doing.
The committee they want every undefeated team to just win.
The committee is praying Washington wins, Michigan wins, Georgia wins, and
Florida State.
And Florida State wins. Florida State losing, okay, we can explain that they lost to a Louisville team. We can put somebody else in that spot.
Yeah.
So they're not. The Florida State is whatever. Now, what gets tricky with the Florida State is
because you got 4 undefeateds and 4 one-loss teams.
Exactly, but
in the top 8.
But this is what's tricky with the Florida State. Let's say Florida State wins, right? And again, they are undefeated. But let's say, goddamn, Alabama does beat Georgia. That's tough because I can argue that Alabama has a better resume and an SEC championship compared to Florida State. Then I can also argue that it's hard to say that Georgia, it's never happened.
Yeah,
a team going from 1 to being out the top 4 with a loss. It's never happened. And we've never seen a team go from 8 to into the playoffs. It's never happened.
It's never happened. But I just feel like if there's ever going to be a year where something crazy like this was to happen, this would be the year because next year they are moving to 8 teams. So it's like, let's shake things up and just get people to be like, let's shake things up and create a conversation, a talking point for next season when we do add 8 teams.
That's true.
Because it would only make sense. I mean, we're adding 8 teams next year. Let's make an 8 come into the top 4 just because next year it's really not gonna matter. Like you got your 8, 1 and 2 will buy out. 3 to 8 will play each other, and it'll go on from there. To me, like me and you talked about, bro, I always felt like they should have just did 6. 1 and 2 should have had buys, and then 3 to 6 should have played each other.
I mean, yeah, but I told you, like they didn't do that because they needed people. Something like the BCS. The BCS was a magnet for controversy and media. Like it was always a debate because the BCS format, it was computer. You know what I'm saying? Like it was always somebody always had an argument.
Some type of artificial intelligence.
Exactly, and somebody always had a case to be like, well, we deserve to be in the national championship game. So now with the college playoffs, it's like.
We have real live human people,
but let's only make 4 spots.
I always thought 4 spots was crazy.
It's 4 spots, and there's 5 power conferences. That means one of these conference champions is going to be left out, possibly.
That was happening,
and that was a debate.
That was happening because there was teams that was going on, whether it be the Big Ten or the Pac-12, finishing their seasons undefeated, and it's just like, how did they not make it into the top 4?
Well, they didn't make the cut.
Oh, they didn't. We base it on strength of schedule.
Strength of schedule, resume, who you beat, who you lost to. Like if you did lose, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, and I mean, think about, and it goes back to when we was talking about Cincinnati and shit. Cincinnati had to run it up to plead their case as far as we deserve to be here. We've dominated every opponent. We've won by 30 or more all season. We deserve to be here. And for a little while, bro, Cincinnati was falling out. They was teetering between 4 and 5 every week that the college playoffs was coming out. And then finally, the final one, bro, it was just like
they respected that they was undefeated.
Go ahead and throw them up in there.
They respected the undefeated.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. Like I get the Florida State shit, but if Florida State wins, they should be in. But it's gonna look crazy that we looking at a Georgia and Alabama team. One of them might not be in it if Alabama was to win, and even if Alabama wins, Georgia might not. I mean, Alabama might not get in it.
That'll be the first. That would be, if that was to go out the way the scenario that you've given, that would be the first time since the playoffs that a SEC team has not been represented in the playoffs.
No, 2015 it was. Bama was in it. They played out Ohio
That's
State.
what I'm saying. That that a team would not be represented.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
playoffs.
no, somebody's in it. But what I'm saying is, if Alabama wins and they're the SEC champion, they're not guaranteed a playoff spot. That's what I'm saying.
because they would look at it like Georgia.
It's the better team.
And I mean, look at the story too. It's like Georgia, they got a chance to three-peat. It hasn't been done before. So
Yeah, but we're all based off a year-to-year basis. Are they a better team than Alabama? And Alabama,
this year, yes.
but Alabama got the head-to-head.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's like if they beat them head-to-head, can you really say that they better?
I mean, you still could.
You could.
I mean, you say it all the time. Well, now that I was about to say that, then no, I can't say that because I was about to say, yeah, we say it all the time. The better team wins.